this should be a rather short video. Just finished doing the install of the adapter plate for the CD09 trans PMC adapter. There's a video on that. If you want to see that, check the channel. Just torque these down to 110 foot-pounds based off of the factory flywheel specs, which is recommended. But this video is mostly going to be centered on these coolant lines. So yes, these do work, but as you can see, this is kind of like a cluster of just stuff, and I want to kind of neaten this up a bit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm planning on just having a line come off here with the T, because my wastegates are going to be water cooled, so I'm still going to need a feed. So the T will be the feed for the wastegates, and then just come over to this one and then cap this side, and that pretty much gets rid of all of this stuff. So what I'm gonna be doing today is I'm gonna just take off these hoses and probably just take some with. What I'm kind of hoping to do is, these were useless for me when I bought the kit, so I'm kind of hoping that I can kind of like salvage them, and instead of buying hose, just run that. But we will see. So I mean, it's pretty simple disassembly for these. It's just some needle nose pliers, unclip them, take them off. These are the heater hoses. I'm not going to be using them at all anyway. So let's just take all this stuff off real quick. Right, so got it off, all that stuff right there, and already we looking real clean. So, you know, like I said, I'm just trying to get something to go from here to here. One line, pretty simple. I'm trying to figure out how to delete this. I think it's a certain type of plate that you got to run for oil filters specifically. I'm gonna have to do some research on that, but for the time being, it'll be probably, I don't know if I'm gonna reuse this piece because it does come out a little far. I'd rather it come here and then elbow over, but we'll see about that. If I can find a piece that can just go in here and just go over, then I'll be fine with that. So I might take this piece out, get it fitted, and go from there, and just take this piece off as well. Oh, there we go. Just take this piece off as well, and use it to find hose if I need it, and we'll be good. I think I might make it out of copper. That way I could solder a T fitting onto there or something like that. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. So I did take this piece out. I did a little research on this. So pretty much what this catastrophe is, the OEM, this is all the housing for the oil filter. This is bolted to the housing, the filter is bolted to the housing, and the oil pressure sensor is also bolted to the housing. So in order to eliminate this conglomerate, you gotta get a adapter. So that'll be something that I get, but that'll be a different video because it's gonna take time to get that. But now that I know, I can make a video on that. Should be pretty simple. For the one that I'm looking at, pretty much just bolts up. It does relocate the oil filter, so instead of the filter being here, it'll be 2 10 AN lines, feed and drain, or in and out of what they call it, and then I can relocate it to wherever I want. But it does house the pressure sensor, gets rid of the swirl pot, and bolts up to the factory housing, so, or to the block. So that is what I'll be doing with that. But in the meantime, I did take that piece out, like I said, so I will be fitting that. What I was trying to do was like use kind of like some type of weird, actually that kind of works. If I do it like this, I mean, of course I'm gonna cut it, but that fits over there, and this curve comes over here. And if I cut it just the right way, that'll be fine. So that's what I was pretty much hoping to do for that. I just got to get the fitting that I'm gonna get for here, and make the T-fitting for that. So yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna make it out of copper, just because it's gonna be easy to make. Just get like a pipe fitting that's about the same size, actually 2 of them, drill a hole, and then solder the fitting, the little T in there, and be done with it. So that's what it's looking like. But for now, I am done here. I don't really have too much else to do. Still waiting on the intake manifold to be done powder coating, and then we'll be back at it. So for the heater hose, I came back before because I kept forgetting to bring my drill to go do the replacement that I'm doing to this side, and just wanted to make sure that everything was right and give you guys a better visualization of the bypass. So conveniently, these are the same size as the OEM ones. So I'd be doing the bypass from here, and I'm going to stretch it to this side, and then I'll be making a custom adapter or something that'll go connect to this, connect to that, and probably have like a T similar to this to feed, to go around and feed the wastegates. And yeah, pretty much just call it at that point. I do have to figure out, this is most likely going to be capped in some shape or fashion. I just got to figure out how I'm going to go about doing that, whether it's getting this size or something like that. But that's pretty much it. So there's the visualization, DIY, and then we'll finish it up once I make the custom pieces out of copper. So what I did for measurement is I took this bracket. I'm not going to use this bracket, it's just for measurement. And I made this go in here like that, but made sure the outside was flush with the outside, and then just brought it over and then marked where that fitting meets this, as you can see. So that will give me an idea for how my elbow is supposed to be. It's supposed to go from where my finger is to the bottom, and the bottom where my thumb is the outside edge of that curve, if that makes sense. You'll see what I'm saying more so in a minute, but that is that. And as far as the hose itself, I'm going to be taking a piece of the OEM hose with me, just so that I can make sure I have the right measurements. But I'll have a small piece that will go from here to the actual fitting that I make, and then that fitting will go straight to this one. So it'll be just like this, except smaller, and I'll probably take it off of the new silicone hoses, because these are like, what, 20 years old. So drop that in the bag, and we can go get started on that too. These are the fittings that I purchased. I did my best. The only problem with them is, as you can see, one size is bigger than the other. So that's why I had to purchase 2, because I'll be cutting this side off and using this side. These are the size that fit inside the silicone hoses. So what I'll be doing is something like this, cutting this so it could be straight, just to lengthen it, and then putting the other one probably like this or something like that, 45 or 90 or something like that, to make it a little bit more of an angle. And since these are copper, you can solder them, and that makes it easy. So this is the stock one, and we'll go ahead and compare. Some about like that, but you'll see it, using this piece for reference. You got about right where this bracket starts is where this bin should be. So it'll be something like that. And then just solder them together. So I'm gonna take the Dremel and get to work making this. I still got the piece right here to make sure that they fit, and that's pretty much the materials needed. These are like 60 cents a piece. All right, so just use both of those, the Dremel and the soldering iron. I cut pieces of them off, as you can see, and then I went ahead and soldered it up. It does not look the prettiest, but it is. I went ahead and tested it with some water. It's sealed, it's watertight, nothing leaks out of this seam, and since the lines will be on the sides of it, it's fine. But yeah, on the outside it doesn't look pretty at all. We'll just grind it down the inside so that it's decent and no solder on the inside looks like this, all gunked up, possibly limiting flow. But yeah, this is pretty much all that I was talking about. So this side to the block, this side to the red silicone hose, and that's pretty much that. Very simple. Like I said, this thing was probably like $2, fitting 68 cents each. Get you some solder and get a solder set up. Those are probably like $15. And yeah, let's just go at it from there. So now we're gonna see if this fits and all right, so here we are back at the garage. Remember this, if anybody wants to know, I don't know if I mentioned it earlier in the video, but all these red tubes and stuff was a heater hose kit that I ordered for the Neo off of eBay that didn't fit. Like the lines and everything were of different orientation than the OEM ones, but that's where I got it from. So originally it had no use, but I'm using it for this since the diameter of the coolant hoses are the exact same, and I have plenty of hose to do anything I want. So I just cut this piece to match this one off of the OEM thing. This one will go onto this fitting and thread into and go into one side of this pipe, and then the other side of the pipe will connect here, and then that end will go to the fitting right there, and thus completes the loop. So I'm gonna put that together and show you guys what it looks like afterwards. And then boom, there we go. Visualization complete, done. Both of these are on tight, and I mean, of course, you're gonna clamp that side and this side, which I will do. Just, that's kind of self-explanatory, so I don't think it's needed in this video. But that side goes there. This side, right there. And then if you want to simplify it a little more, you can squeeze this. I'm gonna delete all this stuff right here. But if you want to, pop it off this for a second. You can route it behind, if you could get it behind this thing. And this is just, for visual appeal and stuff like that. There we go. But yeah, if you route it, and get it behind that, of course, most of the time, if not all of the time, this swirl pot is going to be getting deleted. So all of this housing is going to be gone. But this is pretty much a pretty solid DIY on deleting those lines. So you have it coming off of the, probably explained this like 12 times now, but you got it coming out the back of the block, OEM, instead of having that fitting that comes here, has a T that goes out, then goes to the swirl pot, and then another one that goes over here and then goes into there. With this one coming out, you just have one line that goes from here to there and then bypasses all of this. So now you can safely, coolant wise, safely delete this, because the swirl pot is no longer in the loop. And then get an oil filter relocation that also mounts the sensor, and you're good to go. So that's where I'm gonna leave that. Last note is to cap this off. If you don't plan on using a water feed or something that's water cooled, then you could do it just like this and cap this line off. If you do plan on using a water feed for something that's water cooled, then just make sure to put a T-fitting in whatever fitting you choose for this one, so it could go out and feed. And should be a coolant drain on the other side, so you would still cap this off. So cap this one off. That one goes right there. Just a simple cap. I don't know what measurement this is. That's why I haven't gotten the cap for it yet. But cap that off and you're all good to go. So I'm going to call it there. I'm glad that it's red. Makes it more visually appealing than, well, in my eyes, more visually appealing. Plus it'll be a little easier to see when you're under the car and all that stuff. You'll know that this is the coolant line. But I'm going to leave that at that for this one. Like, comment, subscribe, follow the build. Until next time.